Welcome to the Met. My name's Rob Nelson and I work here at the Met. Today we're going to talk a little bit about champagne and sparkling wines. We're going to talk about where they come from, how they're made, and what they pair with at our restaurant. What many of you might not know is that the region of Champagne, where champagne is produced in France, is about 10 times the size of Lima. Smaller than Allen County, but 10 times the size of Lima. And in that region, there are over 12,000 different producers of champagne. That's a lot of small farms and producer growers that are making champagne. Okay. What you might also not know is that within one bottle of champagne are over 250 million bubbles. Now, how is champagne made? Well, this is what separates champagne from still wine. Champagne is made utilizing a second fermentation. So oftentimes the grapes are pressed, you get the juice, and then you have a fermentation process, and then the wine is put in a bottle, and then you get still wine. Well, what happens with champagne is that there's a second fermentation. So they press the grapes, it gets fermented, and then there's a second fermentation process where they add a little yeast, they add a little sugar, and then in champagne, they cap it and they allow it to sit, and then you get the extended CO2 and you get all the bubbles. And then there are different levels of sweetness for champagne. Oftentimes people think that champagne is really dry, and there are a lot of champagnes and sparkling wines that are dry, but there are about 6 different types of sparkling wines, from extra brut, all the way, like you might get something like this, to say a demi-sec, and this is something from, of all places, New Mexico, that are a lot sweeter. Now, what is the difference between champagne and sparkling wine? Now, you could have champagne, but the reason why it's called champagne is because it's actually grown in the region of Champagne. You could have a cava, which is a sparkling wine from Spain. You could have a cider, which has champagne-like qualities, but it's made from pears. You could have sparkling wine from California, Oregon, New Mexico, and this is another one from California. Or you could actually have champagne from France. The only reason why champagne is called champagne is because it is grown in the Champagne region of France. Everything else that's sparkling can be made in the same ways that they make champagne in France, however it's called something different. If it was made in Spain, it is called a cava. If it is made in California or Oregon, it's called a sparkling wine. And there are 3 major grapes that are utilized in champagne. One is Chardonnay, the other is Pinot Noir, and the third is Pinot Meunier. Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier are black grapes, whereas a Chardonnay is white grapes. So you might be wondering, well, how could a wine, this is from Oregon, this is an Argyle, how could a wine, or a sparkling wine, made from a black grape produce a white wine? Well, during the vinification process, what occurs is that the skins are not utilized to make the wine, but the juice is. Subsequently, you can get Pinot Noir grape, which is a black grape, producing a white wine. You might also be able to, or will notice that at times we have rosés. Now, is this a true champagne? It is not. Why is it not called champagne? Because it wasn't grown in Champagne. It was grown in the Spanish region, just outside Barcelona. And it is a rosé. Mixed with some red grape juice, produces a rosé color wine. Equally refreshing. One of the best ways to enjoy sparkling wines is with friends. The other best way to enjoy sparkling wines is with a nice, crisp, light meal. Here at the Met, we're specializing this month in a wonderful strawberry balsamic and basil oil salad that would pair wonderfully with either a stronger brut from Spain or even a sweeter demi-sec from New Mexico. Thank you for joining us this week for the Met's little rendition of what wine to drink. So whether it's a rosé, a sparkling, or a champagne, we hope you have a wonderful week. If you have any questions about any of our sparkling wines or what to pair them with, whether if it's a wonderful salad down here that you could get at the Met or just on your back porch, please feel free to ask us any questions. Here's to a good week.